Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping in. I sure appreciate it. Long time no see. I know, I'm sorry. YouTube is not my primary job. It's a fun hobby for me. And I was just kind of feeling pressured to create content, and that kind of stopped me from creating for a while. Kind of cut off my creative juices, but I'm back, I'm feeling it. And I thought we could talk about some of the palettes that I've purchased over the last few months, and let's rank them, because why not? Hi, I've missed you guys so much. Like I said a minute ago, I took a break, but I'm back and I'm here for it and I'm feeling it. And again, I miss you guys. I miss talking to you in the comments and interactions on Instagram. I've been on Instagram almost every day recently, but the video stuff, let me tell you though, I've recorded like 4 or 5 videos in the last 4 or 5 weeks. I just have not felt the editing perspective, and they've been deleted since then because I was like, that was a crappy video. I look like crap in that video. That was a bad one. So they've been deleted, but I'm here. Let's go. I just have to say something though. I picked these up at Walmart a couple of days ago. These guys right here, they're by the brand Gimme, and they're the strangest looking bobby pins designed for thin hair, fine hair. And that's what I'm dealing with at this point. So it's like a little 2-pronged bobby pin, but it comes together as one piece right here. It's been amazing for my little baby hairs down here that are coming back through. So if you've got fine or thin hair, or those baby hairs that are just out of control and regular bobby pins don't do crap for you, and these were less than $5. So highly recommend these. These have been brilliant for me for the last couple of days. I'm gonna definitely be getting some more because I typically use these, and I just lost my last one, so I bought a pack of these, but I saw these next to them, so I bought both just in case. So I'll still use these up, but these are definitely like a new thing for me. I just thought I'd share because they're just mind-blowingly awesome. But anyway, back to why we're actually here today. So I brought out all the palettes that I purchased in March and April. February was a no-buy for me, so I have nothing new from February, and I've already ranked my July palettes in other rankings because really the only palettes I bought in, I said July, didn't I? I've been gone way too long. January. I bought a couple palettes in January, but they were all Natasha Denona, and I've already ranked them within my Natasha Denona collection. So I didn't bother going back that far. So this is just March and April's palettes. So let's go. Y'all, this was very hard. I have some really great palettes in this lineup. And honestly, like I really struggled to order these. So I'm going to just start off with saying not a single one of these is bad at all in any perspective. At this point, I had to go by how often I'm using them, what I'm gravitating towards, the versatility of the color story, basically just the color story and the frequency of gravitating towards them in the order that I've ranked them. This was agonizing for me. This was agonizing, let me tell you. Okay, so I have 7 palettes. I say palettes because this last one is not a palette, and that is the only reason it's last, is because it is just a single, and that is my Colourpop Super Shock in the shade Ritz. Lovely little feller. He's fantastic, but that is why he's at number 7, just because it's just him, and I need more than just him. So yeah, but he's actually really great. I've really enjoyed it. Okay, coming in at number 6 is the Blend Bunny Blends palette. Guys, I'm telling you, this ranking was so freaking difficult for me. There is nothing bad about this palette. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's fantastic. The reason it's just a little closer to the bottom is because it is a super colorful all matte palette. The looks I get are stunning, but popping this with anything I'm making this, it's a dream. It's a dream. So there's a few colors in here that I don't wear very often, and I am working on a No Pin Left Behind project, and this has been rotated in twice now. I still haven't hit every shade, but I'm working on it. So these pinks right here and these reds are not colors I'm going to wear super often. And this blue section up here, even though my eyes are immediately drawn to that section, Blues are just not a color I wear often. They're not ones I gravitate toward, but the bulk of the palette has shades that I do like. I like purples, I definitely like greens, and these warmer yellow oranges. Definitely a vibe for me. So there's just a few shades in here that I will have to force myself to use that I just won't use on a normal basis, just based on my color preference. This next one might surprise some of you, but it's coming in for Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3. Okay, so I really, really enjoy this formula, and I enjoy the shades that are in this. The reason it is just a little bit lower in this whole lineup is a couple reasons. I'm trying not to blind you guys because this is very reflective packaging. First off is there's less shades in this one than most of the other palettes that I'm going to show you. Also, it is very pricey. I picked this up during the Sephora sale, so I did get a bit of a discount. It's still very pricey even with the discount. Is it worth it? Yeah, I think so. Do I regret the purchase? Absolutely not. Will I pick up another one? Probably not. It's beautiful, and I do really like this color story out of the 3 palettes that he has in like this format. But for me, these cream shades, I've used one of them, but not this one. They're okay as a liner. I'm scared to use them as a base, just due to my inexperience with using products like that in an eye look. So super blendable. I love that we've got a warmer row and a more cool toned row. I do like these down here in the aspect of there's something new to my collection. I have only one other palette that's got cream shades in it, and that's from Alter Ego. But I do love this formula. It's very pigmented, blends incredibly well, which it should for the freaking price point. But I will say that this packaging has this closure, and I feel like I have to dig my finger into it to open it. So I don't love that it's not super easy to open. And that's another reason it kind of dropped down a little bit. But I have created some looks that I have absolutely been in love with using this palette. Coming in next is the Sigma Earthy palette. So I picked this up on one of their sales in March, and this one is surprisingly versatile. Like, I took this palette on vacation for, I believe it was almost 10 days that I used this in a row, and I didn't create a single duplicate look. Every single time I touched this palette for almost 10 days, I was able to create a completely different look. This green shade here is beautiful. You've got some like mustardy warm tones. You've got like a red based shimmer here, and you've got this like antique-y gold green shimmer here. You've got this cool tone shimmer here. It's just, I created warm tone looks. I created cool tone looks. I created soft browns. I used pops of green, pops of red, pops of gold. So this really was extremely versatile. And also, I just love the Sigma formula. I have a couple palettes now from Sigma, and I'm impressed by their formula. It performs well. Are these the mind-blowing shimmers that you have in indie palettes? No, but I almost prefer that. The duochromes, the holochromes, the multichromes, all the chromes. They're beautiful, but they're just not my cup of tea when it comes to shimmers. If I'm picking up a green shimmer, I want it to stay green. I don't want it to shift to purple. You know what I mean? And that's just a personal preference, of course. So that is what I appreciate about Sigma's shimmers, is they're the color you pick up, and they translate really well. They build well. They're not out of this world shiny, which sometimes I really appreciate that if I'm just going for a soft, subtle look. So for me, this is absolutely a wonderfully phenomenal, versatile palette that I thoroughly enjoyed using. Next up here is the Nomad Ireland palette, Ireland Wild Atlantic Way. And if you've been here for a minute, you know I'm a green warm tone lover. Oh, isn't she pretty? I get so excited every time I open it. She is absolutely stunning. And being a green lover and a blue non-lover, I can certainly appreciate the impact that these two blue shades have in this palette. I have completed No Pan Left Behind with this, so I have used every single shade in this palette, and this performs exceptionally well. The mattes are stunning. The shimmers are even more stunning. The only thing I will say is these 3 greens right here, they have a tendency to look virtually the same on the eye. Swatched out, they have different undertones, but for the most part, they're they're pretty similar on the eye. So the only thing that's really lacking in this for me is a deep, deep green. This is like a blue green, so it works. And then you've got this dark blue, but I would really, like, this would have just absolutely sealed the deal as my favorite palette of all time, or at least favorite green palette of all time. That's a big claim, favorite palette of all time. Ooh, that's kind of scary to think about. I don't want to think about that right now. But favorite green palette of all time was just missing that ultra deep green. Like this one, I thought that was going to be it, but again, it just doesn't quite. Let me swatch them out for you. So I'm going to pick these up here in order. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So they look different. This one is the most standout because it's more of a lime green, but honestly, like once you get these guys on the eyes, this is shade 1, 2. Gosh, look how pigmented those are. But honestly, once you start blending them out, they're not all that different. This one definitely is lighter right now, but between this one and this one, when you start blending them out, they really don't have a whole lot of shade difference on the eye. And I feel like they lighten up, so I can't quite get the depth of this one. I wanted that to stay deep green, but the more I blend to get a nice smooth transition out of it into the shimmer color, the shimmer shade, it lightens up, and I wish it just had a little more depth. So what I've been doing to deepen up that green is actually pulling in this Bunratty Castle and putting that on top of this really deep green up here, that first shade, and combining those two, it deepens the green, so it gives me what I want. I just wish I didn't have to mix the shades to get that depth, but honestly, like you saw how pigmented these are, and smooth they are, and they blend out well. So this has just been a fantastic palette. And you know what, since we're here, we're in the top 3 palettes, so let's just go ahead and swatch out a couple of these because they just freaking blow my mind. Okay, so I picked up the shade on this finger and this shade on this finger. Look at that. Just look at that. That bottom shimmer is my favorite shade in this whole palette. It's that yellow green. So it's got a green base, but it shifts with a yellow to it. I mean, lordy, how wonderful is this shade? It's absolutely captivating. So, fantastic palette. Fantastic. But there's 2 palettes above it I love just a tiny bit more. And like I said, this was absolutely agonizing. And honestly, I think it's just the reason this one is coming above these next 2 is simply just because of the, not trend, but because of the, let me get these shimmers off my finger, hang on. Another thing I will say before I finish that thought about the Nomad palette, I do appreciate the fact that the greens do not stain, whereas most greens on me usually do, but these don't. However, the sparkles are all over my hand. I will say that wearing those really sparkly shades, even with a glitter primer, I mean, you need to wear a glitter primer with those. But even with a glitter primer, by the end of the day, I did have a bunch of sparkles on my face. I didn't necessarily mind it. I would prefer it didn't do that, but it doesn't bother me. Like, it's not going to stop me from using those shades. But to finish that previous thought, the reason that these 2 sit slightly over the Nomad palette is, again, not necessarily the trend, but what's in style for me right now that I'm seeing out in public, what I'm seeing here on YouTube, but just what I'm seeing in general as far as makeup goes is matte eyeshadows. All matte looks, very casual, very everyday, very no makeup looks. I've already voiced that's not my favorite phrase, but that style of look, very minimal makeup, very elegant, very just classy. So that's why these 2 palettes come first. So the one coming in slightly above Nomad is going to be the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes, the Neutrals. It's the newest one, the more cool toned palette. I I've created some phenomenal looks with this. And as someone who really likes a super pigmented eyeshadow, these do take some blending and some building, and you've got to be patient with the building process. But honestly, I get such stunning looks from this palette. Stunning looks and compliments left and right. And I have worn this as an all matte look. I've worn this with my Colourpop Super Shock on top when I'm feeling just a little uncomfortable in an all matte look. But to be honest, I'm really jiving with the all matte looks recently. I've done quite a few of them. I never thought I could be one who could do an all matte look, and I'm really enjoying it. But this color story, as a warm tone lover, is very fascinating. There are some warmer leaning shades like this one, and this one's a peachy, this one's a pink, a little more. It's overall, it's got a more true neutral, coolish leaning color story, but I really appreciate this gray shade in here. I appreciate the matte black, and I really appreciate this matte, like off-white color. It's not quite white, it's like an ivory almost, but I just, formula's on point. The only thing is this packaging to me, the all white gives me anxiety. I'm constantly cleaning these, wiping these, and let me tell you, the other day I had black eyeshadow on my hand, and I grabbed this and didn't realize it was on my hand, and I had black smears and smudges all over this, and as you can see, I still do back here. It gives me just constant anxiety. I'm always cleaning it. I hate the all white packaging. And it's small, and I don't know, like $50. That's pricey. Now, granted, I picked this up during the Sephora sale, so it was a little bit cheaper. I also had a gift card, so that worked for me, but this has just been really fun and very new for me, and I'm enjoying. Which now leads us to my number one palette from the past couple of months that I've purchased, and that's the Makeup by Mario Original Master Mattes. Okay, this one, this packaging compared to the Cool Neutrals. The Cool Neutrals packaging is a matte surface. It doesn't have any shine. It's just matte. It's matte. And the letters are not raised. They are flat against the package, almost as if it were like part of the package, like a sticker or something. It's just not raised. It's even with the surface. The original packaging, however, is shiny. And with that, you can see every freaking streak. See that? You can see every freaking streak of mess. I am cleaning this all the time to the point where I'm about to give up. I'm tired of cleaning it. So that gives me a bit of anxiety too. But here's my number one palette. And as a warm toned lover, there you go. That's why it's number one. I really struggle between the two Mario palettes and the Nomad palette, which one to go first. So honestly, if you were to ask me in like 2 or 3 days, it might be totally different. So I don't know. Just take these top three with a grain of salt because they can switch around. But at least for today, this is what I settled on. I will say though, definitely some similar shades. So this matte black here in the corner and this ivory color up here, they're both in this palette and they are both the same. I have swatched them out. And I think there was like one other shade. This peachy one right here is dang near this peachy one. Look at the peach colors. But there's a couple similar shades, which I honestly don't necessarily mind when it comes to the matte black because I use the matte black as a liner. I'm not a liquid liner person, I'm not a gel liner unless it's in the water line, but I almost always use a matte black eyeshadow along my upper lash line. I have sparse eyelashes, so the black eyeliner fills in those gaps between my eyelashes and makes it look like they're fuller and thicker. So I love that matte black in both palettes and this really white bone ivory color. I really like that as a blending shade. Or an inner corner highlight. And for me, inner corner, I don't necessarily mean like here. I mean more like right in here. So let me put this one away since we're done talking about that one. But, so yes, I really like this. I've gotten some amazingly gorgeous looks. And I vibe with oranges and yellows and that color story, and that's what this is. It's those mustardy, very fall-esque tones. So I see this being one I pull out in the fall, and I'm very excited to have an excuse to pull it out again, because once May ends, this will be out of my neutrals rotation, and I probably won't see it for a hot minute because summer is here. Ooh, I can use it in the summer too, warm tones. We might see this again very soon. But yes, I'm stoked I picked this up. I picked up during the friends and family sale off of Mario's website. Mario's website? I apologize if I've been saying it wrong this whole time. But very, very happy to have this in my collection. And again, never thought I'd be someone who could do an all matte look. Been doing all matte looks with this. Vibin'. All right, y'all, and that's it for me. I sure appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will catch you in my next one. Later much.